Hey there, crypto family. Welcome back to the XRP Insider channel. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here with me today. No matter where you are in this amazing world of ours, I hope you're having an incredible day because we've got some seriously important stuff to dive into about XRP. So let's jump right in. We're looking at the one-day chart here, and XRP is sitting pretty at $2.60. Now, I'm seeing all these comments flooding in saying, oh no, XRP is crashing. But here's the thing, we're literally down just 7 cents, and people are acting like it's the end of the world. I mean, come on. I'm seeing folks saying they're ready to dump their XRP bags because they think we've hit the top. But listen up. If you're panicking over a tiny 7-cent dip, you're missing the bigger picture completely. Here's my bold prediction. If you sold today, you're going to be scrambling to buy back in before this week is over. And I'm going to show you exactly why in just a minute. Now, let's talk about Bitcoin real quick. It's back down to $113,000, and honestly, this was totally expected. We've got the Fed potentially cutting rates later today, and here's the pattern we always see. There's a dip right before the announcement, then rates get cut, and bam, crypto starts its comeback. We literally watched this exact same movie play out last month. But here's where Bitcoin is struggling right now, and this is crucial to understand. You've got all these OG Bitcoin holders, people who've been diamond handing for years, finally taking profits. Plus, the ETF flows are basically a wash right now. Sure, we're getting inflows, but the outflows are almost matching them, so it's kind of a standstill. But mark my words, the moment Bitcoin flips green, we're going to see that FOMO kick in like crazy. And honestly, I don't think Bitcoin has topped out in this cycle yet. That monster move is still coming. Now, let's talk Fed rates. This is where it gets interesting. There's a 98% chance we're getting a 25 basis point cut today, with just a 2% chance of a surprise 50 basis point cut. If Powell goes big with that 50 basis point cut, oh man, that's going to light a fire under this entire market. But here's what everyone's expecting. That standard 25 basis point cut. The real nightmare scenario? If he leaves rates unchanged. That could trigger a pretty nasty dump across the board. I saw this brilliant take from James that really sums it up perfectly. When rate cuts are priced in, if the Fed cuts rates tomorrow, we dump. If the Fed doesn't cut rates, we dump hard. And you know what? There's definitely some truth to that logic. But here's my take. The market is so uncertain right now about whether that rate cut is actually happening. So if Powell does deliver, I think we're going to see markets flip green pretty quickly. And speaking of bullish catalysts, check this out. Trump is reportedly signing a complete deal this Thursday. This is confirmed bullish news for the markets. Now, if that meeting goes sideways, it's not going to be pretty for crypto. But I'm optimistic this could be exactly what we need to get back on track. Here's some political drama for you. The Democrats have voted to keep the government closed for the 13th time. And guess what that means for XRP ETFs? Those SEC approvals that everyone's waiting for? Not happening while the government is shut down. We're probably looking at November now. But here's the silver lining, and this is huge. Alt season is absolutely 100% coming. We know it's going to happen. This cycle has been delay after delay, making it feel like the longest cycle in crypto history. And it actually is the longest cycle we've ever been in. I expect these delays to continue as long as the government stays closed. But the moment that government reopens, that's when we get market stability back. And that's when things are going to get really exciting. Now, here's the exciting part. We will get new dates for those XRP ETFs. And honestly, Atkins might just fast-track the whole thing and get those ETFs approved one way or another. They're coming, that's for certain. Boom! All live XRP ETFs are showing double-digit gains across the board. Who was it that said XRP had no momentum? Because the numbers are telling a completely different story right now. While everyone's been debating and complaining, institutions have been quietly loading up their bags. This is exactly what happens when liquidity meets legitimacy. Price follows conviction, and we're witnessing the start of the next major phase. I keep seeing people in the comments saying there's no demand for XRP, while simultaneously watching institutions pile in during every sideways move or pullback. Look at these numbers. The XRP ETF is at $25.95, volatility shares at $15.88, and the list goes on. They're all showing double digits. There's massive demand for XRP ETFs, and here's the kicker. Even though XRP ETFs will likely be the last ones to get approved, they're going to move the most money when they do. Solana won't even be comparable to what XRP does. And don't even get me started on meme coins like Litecoin. I know everyone's getting impatient. I keep seeing only a few days left everywhere. And yeah, that's what we're all expecting. But realistically, even though the government is shut down, I think this is going to play out until the government reopens. We've seen this movie before with XRP. There's always a delay, but eventually, things do go live. Breaking news alert! Ripple's application with the OCC for their National Trust Bank license has a 120-day review timeline that ends this Friday, October 31st. We could see approval coming very soon. And here's the insider tip. A lot of people are saying if this gets approved, we won't hear about it until Ripple swell. This could absolutely happen because we've been watching these bank licenses get fast-tracked left and right. If this comes through, that's going to be incredibly bullish for XRP moving forward. Now, let me blow your mind with some perspective. Back in 2017, we had a few hundred coins. In 2021, we had a few thousand. But in 2025, we're looking at over 26 million coins. And people wonder why we haven't seen alt season yet? Most retail investors never make it past the first page of any exchange. They usually stick to the top 25. So honestly, I don't think this massive number will have as big an impact on alt season as people think. But here's my conviction. XRP is going to be the best performing asset during alt season. It has the cleanest, most beautiful chart in all of crypto right now. And I'm expecting nothing short of a parabolic run. There's absolutely nothing holding XRP back this time. Once we get proper regulations, we'll be back down to a few hundred legitimate coins. When that bottleneck happens, it's going to look like what Brad Garlinghouse called a black swan event. But what emerges from that chaos? Those are going to be the real winners in crypto. Check this out. The monthly alt season index just hit bottom. And historically, every single time this has happened, alts have pumped hard. We're talking parabolic season territory. And you can see it clear as day on the chart. Every time it dips to these levels, we get that massive upward explosion. I'm seeing tons of people saying Bitcoin's run is over, that the cycle is winding down. But I'm telling you right now, I think there's one more big move left in Bitcoin. And when it happens, it's going to drag the entire market up with it. That's when we transition into full-blown alt season. Bottom line, don't let short-term noise distract you from the massive opportunity we're sitting on. The institutions know what's coming. That's why they're loading up, while everyone else is panicking over tiny dips. Are you ready for what's coming? Are you positioned for this next massive move? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if this got you fired up. And make sure you're subscribed, because things are about to get very interesting. Massive news coming in. XRP is absolutely taking South Korea by storm. The volume is skyrocketing. And all eyes are now on a potential run to $4.50 to $5. South Korean traders are going absolutely crazy for XRP right now, with Upbit ranking it as their top most traded asset. And you know what? This price action keeps forming higher lows, which is screaming bullish momentum toward a potential breakout in that $4.50 to $5 range. Upbit has been crushing it with XRP throughout this entire cycle, and I expect that momentum to keep building. The charts don't lie, people. History is repeating itself, but this time the breakout looks absolutely violent. XRP just entered a phase that nobody's ready for. Do you see the pattern forming? Or are you going to realize it too late? Now check out this incredible chart analysis. Some people are calling for $5, $8, even $9. And honestly, I think we could potentially see 3 digits on XRP. But here's the reality check. If you look at where we are on the long-term chart, we might still be down here, waiting for the real fireworks to begin. I've been saying this since the election. This isn't where we top out on XRP. We're still in the early stages, waiting for the main event to unfold. Can we hit those kind of numbers? Look, I'm not going to say it can't happen, and I'm not going to guarantee it will happen, but I will say this: it could absolutely happen. Why? Because we still don't know what those XRP ETF inflows are going to look like once they go live.
Here's what I'm basing my optimism on: the market cap multiplier potential, massive ETF inflows, and possible exchange scarcity. All the XRP is disappearing from exchanges right now. And when you combine that with the insane demand that's coming once this price really breaks out, we're talking about FOMO like we've never seen before. Everyone's going to want a piece of XRP, and that's exactly why I think it could be the biggest shocker of this entire bull run. I mean, seriously, look at this chart right now. How could you possibly look at this setup and not think, maybe I should be loading up on XRP? The chart looks absolutely incredible. And let's talk about today's crash. We're down 7 cents on the daily chart, and people are acting like the world is ending. I honestly don't get it. This tiny pullback was completely expected before a possible Fed rate cut. Here's my prediction. If you sold today, you're most likely going to be buying back in by the end of this week, when XRP is moving toward $3 again. Why? Because if Trump gets that deal done with China, that's going to be massively bullish for crypto. Couple that with a Fed rate cut, and we're looking at some seriously good price action going into the weekend. But, as I always tell you, expect some volatility. Something unexpected could always happen that brings us down even lower. However, I'm incredibly optimistic that we're going to start moving back up from here. The bottom line? This is just the beginning. Stay patient, trust the process, and don't let short-term noise shake you out of what could be the opportunity of a lifetime. What's your price target for XRP? Are you ready for 3 digits, or do you think I'm getting ahead of myself? Let me know in the comments, smash that like button if this analysis fired you up, and don't forget to subscribe for more daily crypto insights. Until next time, keep those diamond hands strong, crypto family. The best is yet to come.